Ian Thompson from ThompsonTeesOff.com. Tuscaloosa News is with us for his weekly visit. And, boy, he's got a great column this week in the Tuscaloosa News on former Alabama golfers and other local golfers trying to make it to the LPGA and PGA Tour. Justin Rose, world number 1, wins the FedEx Cup Championship. But those are secondary stories because Ian Thompson, we watched it on television. He was at Eastlake Golf Club in Atlanta on Sunday with a media credential following Tiger Woods. And obviously, Ian, it was something on television to behold. I can only imagine what it was like to be there in person and experience it. You were, and we get a firsthand account. Good morning, and just jump right in on Tiger Woods and this amazing comeback that was capped off in the final event of the season with a victory in the prestigious Tour Championship.
Yeah, morning, Gary. Couldn't have scripted it any better or set it up any better than you just did. Yeah, I'm sure it came over on television, the size of the crowds, and followed would be I'm not quite sure if that's the apt description. Tried to do the best I could to get a few holes ahead and see some action, and then even though I'm tall, you just couldn't see enough. So try to get ahead of the action and wait for Tiger and Rory to come to us, and the same with Rose in the group ahead and so on. But there was only one person that everybody was there to watch, and I'd never quite witnessed it before in that. And I don't know how clearly this came across on TV. I'm sure it did, but Tiger was cheered as he went to every tee, not just every green. As he came to the tee, you'd think he'd just hold a putt, and all he was doing was walking up to the tee to tee his ball up.
Wow.
And it was electric, absolutely electric. The crowds, I've been fortunate to go to the Tour Championship at Eastlake for, it's probably pushing 10 years now, at least that long, and I make a point to go every Sunday of the championship round, and it's really a fun, exciting place to go. It's not a bad drive, but the numbers were through the roof. I mean, it was way more. Normally, it's, I'm not saying totally civilized just to wander around and watch some good golf, but it was just huge crowds, and they were there to see one person, and he didn't disappoint. And now I will say this: that obviously, Justin Rose had the incredible secondary of winning the FedEx Cup and $10 million, and obviously was excited about that. But I don't think that really captured anybody's imagination on the golf course. Nobody was. It was hard to catch up with that sort of thing. Obviously, TV, they'd be giving regular updates and input, but that didn't matter to the man on the ground that Rose was about to win that, or theoretically that Tiger might have won it if Rose didn't birdie the last.
All right.
But for the fact that they were all there to see Tiger Woods try to win for the first time in over 5 years at a big-time event with all the top players in the world just about in the field. And with all that on him, he played a very solid game of golf, while everybody else that was in immediate contention around him fell apart. Really disappointed in the play of McIlroy and Rose. Neither of them looked particularly sharp, and it did clear the stage. It would have been fun to see Tiger have to come to 18 to make birdie to win it with the heat right on him, because he did look like he was starting to slip a little bit the last few holes there, but then he hit a lovely drive on the 18th, and then he knew he was done. But it was absolutely electric. I've been fortunate to go to a lot of golf events, the Open Championship many, many times as a young man growing up. But I don't recall an atmosphere quite as charged and quite as excited for Tiger to return. And it was really, really cool to be there in person, I must say.
Yeah, what makes it so impressive? Well, first of all, the fact that he's in the top 30 tells you how he's played. So, this wasn't a fluke. This didn't come out of nowhere. He's been playing great golf for some time. He's been close. And then, as you said, even though it's only 30 players, this is the best 30 players in the world based on what happened this season. And to win it the way he won it, I don't want to say going away, but, coming to 18, knowing, barring something fluky or hitting it in the water or, out of bounds or something, that he was going to get to do exactly what he got to do, which was just savor the moment and walk up there to that green knowing you're a champion. You're right. He played solid. He made them come and get him. They couldn't do it. And I also was thrilled by the fact, Ian, that for some of these young guns, they know who Tiger is. They followed him, but they've never seen the Tiger effect firsthand on a golf course, maybe to some extent, but not with him winning. I mean, that had to be a thrill for them too.
Oh, agreed. I mean, I'm almost saying that they sort of turned into a cheerleader. I mean, obviously McIlroy has been well stated and well quoted that he followed Woods' career as a young man and aspired to get to that level, and he never looked sharp, but he was always very respectful. And afterwards, I saw a tweet from him that was very, very respectful, and the fact that he congratulated him. Now, of course, all gloves would be off in the next day or two because he would go to the Ryder Cup, and I'm sure we'll get to that in a little bit. But it was, it was gratifying, I'm sure, to Tiger to see a lot of his peers, a lot of the guys waiting around to congratulate him afterwards, and for him just to feel that coming down the 18th, knowing he had it in the bag. I mean, once he cleared the water just on 15, he had to start allowing himself just slightly to think that it was his, unless someone had a crazy finish, like a birdie eagle, which can happen there. And he got past 16, which had been his kind of bugaboo hole all week. He had a double on it before and scraped around for a made bogey, and he won that tournament Saturday afternoon when he had the most extraordinary start. Birdied 6 of the first 7, and I mean, obviously college football was dominant that afternoon, but there had to be a lot of TV sets tuned to that. Did you see what Tiger's doing? Look at the round he's got going, and he gave himself that. That was the start he needed. That gave him separation. He really never let anybody back into it. And like Tiger of old and Tiger of new, once he had the lead, he knew exactly what to do with it. He never surrendered bigger than a 2-shot lead. That was to Y.E. Yang in the 2009 PGA Championship. And yes, he hasn't had that sort of lead so much in more recent times, but you don't forget. And of course, it would have been a real body blow if he had somehow fumbled away a 3-shot lead, but never really looked like happening. There was never once that you thought, well, gosh, he could be starting to slip, he could be starting to lose it here, or someone's going nuts on the back nine, and here they come firing for him. Never the case. I'm sure he was able to enjoy it more than he expected he would have been. And now, of course, he's the supreme grinder. He used that word many times because the golf course, I don't know how clearly this came across. It was tough. I mean, even though there was no breeze, it was really, really pretty warm and humid over there. But the breeze was hardly any factor, just occasionally puffed up. But the rough was so thick, and it's so demanding of a driving course. If you hit the fairways, yes, you can attack the greens. Beautiful putting surface, unbelievably fast. I'm sure people could see how fast they were. But it was all predicated by hitting the fairway, because if you did not hit the fairway, you had no control. You might get the green and bounce over, or most of the time you could not get anywhere near the green. And Tiger's driving. I mean, he obviously didn't hit every fairway, but over the course of the championship, he was in the top 10 statistical in every category, including driving. Well, you could never have said that a few years ago. You couldn't find the golf course, let alone the fairway.
Right.
Now he seems to have everything on all cylinders. Short game, he's always had the putting when he's had to have it. That hasn't really ever slipped away, but his chipping certainly did. He's found his way back to that miraculously. And you and I, certainly I've been quoted many times saying I didn't think we'd ever see this day. So I gladly eat humble pie and say I was thrilled to be able to see it, and he's fully deserved it.
Yeah, and I'm going to get back to that in a moment, where he's come from. But finally, I was thinking this morning, and I wasn't around for Walter Hagen or Gene Sarazen or Ben Hogan or Bobby Jones, and, obviously a little bit with Palmer and a lot with Nicklaus. But it's one thing to be a talented golfer and win championships. It's another thing to be a generational player, to be someone who is a celebrity. Tiger is, and that's not to knock any of these young guys who are incredibly talented. But Justin Thomas said, hey, man, the difference between last year when I won the FedEx Cup and, the excitement surrounding that and what we had with Tiger this year, coming up 18, it was like a movie. That's what it looked like. This guy is bigger than the game of golf. And again, I think it's a reminder that to be a great golfer is one thing, but to have the charisma, to have the aura, and not, and I love Brooks Koepka. Brooks Koepka can pound the golf ball, but Brooks Koepka is never going to be Tiger Woods. I don't care how much he wins. To be what Tiger is about more than just being a gifted golfer. It's a factor. It's a personality trait that not many people have. And I think yesterday was just a wake-up call again for a younger generation. This is what a celebrity golfer looks like. No offense to any of these young talented guys that hit it a mile, but a lot of them don't have it and never will have what Tiger Woods has, and we may not ever see it again in our lifetime. It's rare.
I concur completely. I mean, you've got the aura, the charisma, the personality, more and more coming out now, of course. But compared to someone like you said, Koepka or Dustin Johnson, they don't have it. That's not in their DNA. Yeah, they can pound the ball and they can bring the course to a submission and they walk around, just as cool as they can be, but they're never going to generate that, what you talk about. I think McIlroy is the one who could get closest to it, but he's a mile away from that. And, of course, Tiger is indeed very much of a once-in-a-generational player and spanning multiple generations now with a before and after Tiger. He's 42. We've talked about what an old 42 he is, or has been. But, boy, he's completely rejuvenated with a body that doesn't hurt. That's the key to it. And distance to burn still, but distance in the game is a big part, but it's by no means the be-all and end-all. And I thought the thing that was going to do him in, other than potentially his health, was the fact that he had really started struggling to chip the ball, as has been well documented. But I saw in person and watched on television some of the most delicate flop shots out of really tough lies, and the sort of shots that would give you a fit if you had any doubt. He played them without any doubt. That's not to say he put them all right by the hole, but he played them with a lot of conviction, and I think that's what he's showing. And, I certainly wouldn't want to be facing him in this Ryder Cup now. Once he's after that, I'm sure he'll take a long break and a deep sigh, and with a contented smile look back on a season where he led the PGA and the Open on the back nine. Didn't win either of them, but really made some noise in both of them. And then quite properly won the Tour Championship, an event that a lot of people see and a lot of people are going to remember. And me, being very fortunate to have been there, and the numbers on TV must be through the roof. I mean, I hadn't seen the viewership ratings, but it had to be a lot more than any other Tour Championship ever, and probably a lot more than most majors, I would imagine. What a win by Tiger Woods.
Now to get back to where he's come from, because you're right. Just a few years ago, and you and I are both predicting that he'd never win again. He was a wreck. And the first thing that this tells you was that he got himself right personally. He got himself straightened out off the course. The second thing, obviously, the back surgeries were successful, so physically. But it was more than just being able, again, to play golf. It had a lot of things had to line up for him to get to this point. They did, and as you just alluded to, he's not done now. I mean, you look at this, he might, again, he might win another major. He might win a couple. If he's this healthy and has his personal life together like this, I mean, I think he's easily got 5 or 6 really strong years ahead of him. So it isn't just about his success on the golf course that got him to this point. All of the other things had to align, and you have to give him credit, I think, for straightening himself out off the course as well. You agree?
Oh, I do. I completely concur. Yeah, I mean, we know some of the personal things he's gone through, and most of them are self-induced. And he's been roundly, critiqued and chastised for it, and me along the same lines. But he's found a way to put all that in the rearview mirror, I suppose, in the best way that he can, and has become the Tiger Woods that we've, revered from 15 years ago. This isn't just a flash in the pan. I feel like now, because he's hit 80 wins, so he's not that far off of Sam Snead's record of 86, I think it is. And
82, course, I think, Ian.
82, my excuse.
2 away,
yeah, so he's very close to that. Now, the majors, will he get 4 more? Who knows? We couldn't even begin to think he'd get anywhere near any of them until what he started to show this year. But now it's like, I think Johnny Miller was quoted as saying, he wishes the Masters was next week, or any major was next week, because he'd go in there as a prohibitive favourite, riding incredible confidence. But I bet you we'll see him make some serious noise next year, and it would take a brave person to bet against him not winning a major next year, compared to a year or two ago, you'd have been laughed out of the place saying, hey, I want Tiger to win. Can't see it happening now. I think everybody can see it happening, and more importantly, thinks it will happen.
All these guys are going to convene in Paris for the Ryder Cup, and they're going to get serious in a hurry. But what do you think that flight was like last night over to Paris with those golfers celebrating with Tiger? I imagine they turned it loose for just a little bit, don't you think, Ian?
Yeah, you know they did. I mean, they're going to be riding in the whole way. I mean, they got to be so just the energy he brings. Now, conversely, let's say Rose or McIlroy or someone had taken him down and he'd stubbed his toe right there at the end. The European flight over there would have been a lot different. But there was never any danger of that. It never looked that way. So yes, absolutely. You don't think that Jim Furyk's not got a big smile on his face with who was his assistant captain, non-playing assistant captain originally, now is going to be leading the charge for the US in the Ryder Cup in Paris, and I for one can't wait. Don't plan on missing much of that.
No doubt. All right, little handicap here, the Ryder Cup. We said it last week. This one could be epic. I mean, you look at the physical talent on both of these teams, the number of great players. I mean, it's just both these rosters are loaded. I might give a little bit, and of course I'm biased in the opposite direction of you. I might give a little bit of an edge to the U.S. team going in, but Europe has the home course advantage. And we've had so many great Ryder Cups over the last 25, 30 years, but, I mean, this one has the potential just to be incredible and obviously will be must-see TV.
Yes, epic's a good word. Yeah, I completely concur. Obviously, Thomas Bjorn, the European captain, is going to try to pull out all the stops with his European team and been widely quoted as saying he's setting the course up with slower greens, far slower than East Lake, and narrow fairways. Well, they've already got that. They got used to that at East Lake and all, but of course Jordan Spieth were playing in it. And the Euros, I think, had 6 players in the Tour Championship. So, yeah, the European, obviously, team have a lot more experience on the golf course because most of them played the French Open the last few years on it. I think Justin Thomas played there this year or the year before, and a few have gone on from the US team. But obviously I'm biased being from England, and I want the Euros to get back to winning ways in it. But I can't see anything other than it being very, very close. I would be amazed if one side or the other has a blowout going and that the singles don't mean a whole lot. I think we'll go into the singles with a maximum span of maybe 2 points either way, and then that's anybody's game. Historically, the US has had a stronger showing in the singles. Top to bottom, the US team, I'm sure in just about every ranking category, is stronger. But the European team obviously have some really strong players too. It's how the rookies manage to cope with playing in it. It's how the other newcomers that hadn't had that much experience manage. And then, of course, the pressure on the top men. I mean, Mickelson's coming in a bit struggling last by a mile in the Tour Championship, but, he can turn it around. I don't think they're really carrying too many players. It's a place that's very hard to hide, though. Jordan Spieth's not coming in on great form. Obviously, his play with Patrick Reed has been an incredible pairing with Fury. If they get off to a poor start, because Patrick didn't play well in the Tour Championship either, you may have to look at splitting up one of his historically strongest teams. But those are all decisions to be made on the go during the Ryder Cup. It's our joy, yours and mine, and many other people's, just to sit there and watch our televisions as it opens ahead of us very early in the morning. By the way, I think the Golf Channel coverage starts about midnight our time on Friday. So there's every chance I'll be tuning in right then and just go with it hardcore all the way through. Can't wait.
Can't wait. Of course, we'll recap it next Monday. Finishing up with Ian Thompson, Mr. Golf, ThompsonTeesOff.com here on the Bud Light Hotline. A good column today. You write about the local and state players and the former Alabama golfers who are, playing professional golf and trying to get to the LPGA Tour and the PGA Tour. It's not easy. And I think that's what I was reminded of reading your column, all the steps. Now, some people are just so good, they bypass it, but for most professional golfers, it's a long haul to get to the top. And then even when you get there, there's no guarantee you're going to stay. And that with your column kind of reminded me of that, all the work that goes in and the struggles and, trying to make a living in the meantime while you're trying to get to the top tours out there. And there's a lot of people in position, but only a few will make it.
Agreed, yeah. And an update to what I wrote. Very glad for Michael Thompson to do enough yesterday to finish 23rd on the Web.com finals list. And so he has got his PGA Tour card back. He's made kind of a habit of doing that. He's really, when the pressure has totally been on, of course, that's the former University of Alabama golfer, he's got his PGA Tour card back. And, yeah, I wrote mostly about Web.com and Symetra Tour heading into the LPGA and Web.com aspiring to the PGA. And people can read about all the names, but they'll recognize a lot of them and the status of some of these players and what they've been through. And, completely agree, paraphrasing what you said. I mean, it is not easy. Just because you've got a name, someone like a Stephanie Meadows, that was a great player at Alabama. First pro event, finished third in the Women's Open. Hardly cracked an egg since then for one reason or another, but she's played beautifully on the Symetra Tour this year. She will have her LPGA card back for next year, and hopefully for now, Stephanie's probably 24, 25. She'll be ready to emulate the great year that Emma Cowley has had as a rookie on the LPGA, another former great University of Alabama golfer who really has set the world on fire as a rookie on that tour and been right up there many times. The only thing she hasn't done is win. I'm sure that will come in the next year or two.
I know
Stephanie will be joining her.
Yeah, I know Mick Potter will be watching Kristen Gilman closely, pulling for her at the same time, probably.
Yes. He's a Q school now. There's the way that works, just my understanding is if she gets through second and third stages, then she has a decision to make. What Emma did, and maybe this is what Kristen is thinking about emulating, I don't know definitively, but you can get your card and then you can defer using it until later in the summer once you finish your season for college. So we'll wait and see how that all transpires. The name I didn't see was Lauren Stevenson. I thought she might have been doing the same thing, but unless I somehow missed her, I don't think she's in school. But a lot of them do it, try to have a backup plan for when they finish college or if they're going to finish in a year early.